some people are saying carnivore may not be the best for us long term. What do I do now? A little bit scary and confusing to hear some of the people that we've depended on for a long time to tell us that maybe carnivore isn't the right thing. This video is brought to you by Purely Tallow Skincare. And with skincare, the rule is simple. If you wouldn't eat it, you shouldn't put it on your skin. That's why we make all of our products with 100% grass-fed beef tallow. We also use emu oil and even wild camel hump fat in some of our lotions. Check out our website at purelytallow.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Carnivore Revolution. I'm Serena, and I just wanted to say what's up with the carnivore diet and people quitting. So when I first started the carnivore diet about 4.5 years ago, for me, it wasn't about being on the carnivore diet. I didn't know what the carnivore diet was, but I did have this weird taste and smell issue where it felt like a skunk was following me around for months after having a sickness that I won't name the name of because it gets your videos banned from all platforms, but you know the one that affects your taste and smell. So I had that issue going on for like a really long time. And it was at the point where I was depressed, I was crying all the time, I couldn't eat many things. It was literally like a skunk was following me around all the time. So every day I was trying foods like, oh, can I eat this? No, and then I was sad, I was depressed. It was a really hard time for me. But I knew I could eat a hamburger fresh off the grill and a steak fresh off the grill after months of, trial and error and trying to figure out what I could eat. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna eat these two foods for a while. I knew there was something to the autophagy and the cell renewal. This is gonna be great, maybe this is gonna work for me. But what I didn't see coming with the carnivore diet was the healing that would happen inside for me, the mental healing, the state of mind healing, my eating disorders and disordered eating that disappeared. So I was at home like 6 months into the carnivore diet, and I was watching a video from my friend Katie Kelly, that's a little bit of fit on Instagram. And I was watching a video from her, and she talked about the difference between an abstainer and a moderator, and that hit home for me. It was like a light bulb moment. I realized, oh my goodness, there's nothing wrong with me. I am normal. I'm just an abstainer. Like, that's why I've never eaten one Oreo. That's why I've never eaten one cupcake. Like, there's nothing wrong with me. I mean, like, I thought there was something wrong, right? I didn't know about food addiction. I didn't know about carb and sugar addiction at the time. So I was suddenly like realizing all of these things and realizing that I was better, that I didn't have an eating disorder anymore, that my eating was so much better. I wasn't obsessed with food anymore. I was just eating burgers and steak. And at that point, I think maybe I had added eggs back in, like I was able to eat eggs again because the smell had gotten a little bit better. And I can't remember if I was eating chicken then or not, but just in general, it was like I realized I'm eating and I'm not obsessed with food and I don't have an eating disorder anymore. I was shocked when I realized that all of those things were true. But I maintain the thought that I have thought all along, and I have said since the very beginning, for me, I don't think everybody needs to be carnivore all the time. That for me, that works. Because for me, if I allow one little thing back in, even some low-oxalate vegetables, I can get carried away with that and it can lead to other things. And so what I'm feeling like now with all of these people coming forward and saying you don't have to be carnivore is, what do I do now? Because some people are saying carnivore may not be the best for us long term. And I'm not sure that I believe that that's true for everybody. Obviously, everybody's different. And it's a little bit scary and confusing to hear some of the people that we've depended on for a long time to tell us that maybe carnivore isn't the right thing. And so I'm struggling a little bit. I've already had kind of a hard year. If you don't know, my mother passed away in December. We hadn't spoken in 14 years. I tried multiple times to mend fences. She was an alcoholic. She was a little bit crazy. And so it's been a hard year for me with her having died without speaking to her in so long, and also knowing that she knew she was passing, she knew she was dying, and didn't try to reach out to mend fences, even knowing that I had tried multiple times. So it's been a hard year for me. Maybe that's an excuse for going off the rails sometimes. Maybe sometimes excuses are reasons too. And so that's my excuse for not having a good food year, because I have been far from perfect this year with my food, way off compared to the way that I was before. And yes, I still say I'm a 4.5-year carnivore because carnivore is still my base and most of my days. But I do, fall off the wagon here and there. And sometimes it's more than others. And sometimes it's for more than one day. And it just is what it is. But I'm not doing that because of carnivore. And carnivore is always what brings me back to not doing that. It's become my go-to. It's become my getting back on track way of eating. It's become my staple. It's become my rock, right? Is what carnivore has become for me. And so I think that, like for me, when I have said in the past, I don't think everybody needs to be carnivore all the time, I didn't mean me. Because I have felt like I'm going to have to be carnivore. Like I can't still have just one of something. I can't have just a salad one day and just say, okay, tomorrow I'm back to carnivore. And that day, if I do have a salad, it ends up being I eat other things too. It's like that's my green light to just eat whatever I want. And I always go for the foods that aren't healthy. Like I'm not going for something that's high protein if I'm off. You know what I mean? I'll eat the salad and I'll think, oh, it's okay. This is just what I'm having for this meal, and I'll have a burger, for dinner. It never works out like that. If I have anything at all that isn't carnivore, I fall off. So I need to be carnivore. Am I open to the idea that carnivore isn't the healthiest thing? I guess I'm open to that idea, but what does it mean for me? And honestly, I don't know. I'm not sure what it means because I don't know that there's another way for me to go. I don't know that there's another diet that works for me the way carnivore does. Keeping me on track most of the time. My mental state is so much better. When I have a couple of days where I just eat whatever I want, my mental state definitely suffers for that. Sometimes it's a week where I just can't focus. I can't get back on track because I can't focus. And then eventually it feels like, after a week, or maybe it's just a few days, but whatever that time period is, it's like I hit rock bottom again, and that brings me back up and I say, okay, today's the first day of the rest of my life. Today's the day I get back on track. And within a day, I feel better, within a day. But there is something about that 3-day rule, like my friend Britt says, that 3-day rule. If you can get back on track and you can stay there for 3 good solid days, so many of your symptoms, so many of your mental things disappear, and 3 days just kind of lets you know that you can do it and helps you get back on track. And I have found that that is true. And Courtney Luna and I talk a lot about the not being able to eat just one thing and how just trying to have just one throws us off the rails. And carnivore puts everything back into that box for us and compartmentalizes everything and makes it so much easier to stay on track. And so what do those of us that are carnivore, hearing all of these, not negative things about carnivore, and the truth is carnivore has healed so many things for so many people, right? It has saved people's lives. So I don't think that there's something wrong with carnivore. I don't think that carnivore isn't the answer. I guess the question here is just, is carnivore the thing that we should be doing long-term for all of us? Hands down, that's it. And I don't know that that's true. Again, I have said for years, maybe everybody doesn't need to be carnivore. I think everybody should be carnivore for 30, 60, 90 days. Maybe it takes you a year to get that healing in, to heal your eating disorder, your autoimmune disease, whatever. Maybe it takes a year for you to get to the point where you can try to add foods back in if that's something that you want to do. Now, I am going to stay carnivore because I feel like that's what works for me. So I'm going to stay carnivore with the exception of, trying every now and then to add something back in without going off the rails. But I know that carnivore works for me. Why do I go off the rails sometimes then? Because I give in, right? It's the same reason we all go off the rails sometimes, is because we give in. And so I'm going to try not to do that as much. I would like to think that at some point later on, and I have said this in videos and interviews with other people, and I get bashed in the comments for it, that I think it's okay to try to add things back in here and there and see how you do with it. I definitely would stick with low-oxalate vegetables and low-carb vegetables because you don't want to introduce something that, has anti-nutrients in it and oxalates and just get sick again. So, I mean, the whole point here, I think carnivore is an amazing elimination diet. And I would love to think that at some point I can be a normal person, but normal, healthy person, not normal, because normal these days isn't healthy at all, is it? So I would like to think that I could eat a couple of things a day that aren't carnivore without it sending me off the rails. I haven't figured out yet how to do that, and I have tried. And sometimes when I try, it leads to a 3 or 4 day thing where I can't get back on track, even though I want to. And so I don't really have an answer for you. So if you were waiting to get to the end of this video and have me have like some words of wisdom for you, I don't really. I just wanted to start the conversation. You have tried to add things back in. Let us know how that went for you. I think it's okay to add some things back in. And I have been saying that for years. And I've always said, I don't think everybody needs to be carnivore all the time. And I still believe that that's true, that there is room to grow and room to add some things back in. And the cool thing about using carnivore as an elimination diet is as you add things back in, you get to decide, does that work for you or not? How does that make you feel? When I first added decaffeinated coffee back in, it made my thumb hurt right in here. Like it made my joint hurt when I first added decaf back in. And so on a daily basis, I would wake up and say, okay, so do I want my thumb to hurt today or not? And my thumb doesn't hurt anymore. I don't drink it every day, but even when I do, my thumb doesn't hurt anymore. And you could look at that 2 different ways. Like, am I inflamed? And that's why it doesn't start hurting when I drink that decaf, because I'm staying inflamed and I just don't notice it anymore. Or have I healed enough that I can drink that cup of decaf a few days a week and not have it affect me negatively? And I guess it could be either one of those things. But one thing I know for sure is that the longest stretch I have ever had without eating disorders and disordered eating has been on the carnivore way of life. And so I will continue to do that. Should I go to the doctor and get some negative test results back, then I'd be willing. I am open to it. Should I get some negative test results back, I would be willing to change my way of eating. I do believe that the high fat, higher protein way of eating is the best. And I think that I will continue to think that. And maybe I would add some vegetables back in at that point. But I do think being in ketosis is good. Maybe rotating into and out of ketosis on occasion is good. The jury is still out on that with pretty much everybody that you ask. So I think nobody knows for sure. And nobody knows for sure that some of the problems that some of my friends might be having right now is because of the carnivore diet. Nobody really knows that for sure. We always talk about how saturated fat isn't bad for you. We talk about a lot of these things, and I still believe all of those things. Is it best to eat a little bit of low oxalate vegetables? Maybe for some people. For me, I'm going to stick with carnivore because that's what works for me. Will I have some low oxalate vegetables on occasion? Maybe. It just kind of depends on the day and whether or not I think it's going to throw me for a loop and cause me to kind of go off the rails. So it'll depend on what my mental state is. It'll depend on how I'm feeling. I do know that even when I do that with low oxalate vegetables, the next day I'm always a little bit off, even if it's just a little bit of something like broccoli or cabbage. I have found that I can eat fermented cabbage. I can eat like sauerkraut, really good natural sauerkraut. I've actually been making my own. And I find that I can eat that without any problems that I notice, the next day or the day after. And I might continue to do that on occasion and see how I feel. But I do think everybody has to make up their own mind. And I think, we have free will and we have the power of the internet at our fingertips, and we can watch everybody's videos and then we can make up our own mind and make our own decisions. So it's still carnivore for me, mostly. I'm still considering myself a carnivore because I don't eat other things every day. And yeah, I think it's silly. People will say in the comments, well, you should have to start your time over if you go off. That's not true at all. I'm still mostly carnivore. I've had a bad year, but it's been more carnivore than not carnivore. And so it is what it is. But let us know in the comments what you guys think about all of this, about all the people kind of going off carnivore and talking about carnivore, and some of the people that are having a little bit of negative reactions lately because of carnivore. That's not something that I have had. And so I'm going to stick with it. My blood work has all been great. My CAC score is still 0. My cholesterol is good. Everything is good, or at least it was when I had my blood work checked in like at the end of March. Everything was good. And it has been since I started carnivore. My blood work actually just keeps getting better. And so I will wait. Honestly, I will wait for some negative blood work to tell me that something is wrong. My Glucose is still mostly good. That really is my only concern. Is I've seen a lot of people talking about adding carbs back in to actually fix our glucose, which is going up because of all the meat and fat that we're eating, which just seems backwards to me. So I'm not convinced there that I need to add some things back in order for that to happen. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't try if I noticed an issue. I definitely am open to trying other things, but I think the heavy meat and fat will have to always be my go-to for now. I can't unlearn the things I've learned. I can't undo the things I've done. And again, everything is still really healthy for me right now as far as my blood work goes and how I feel. I've been running again. I'm still lifting weights. I'm feeling really good at 52 years old, better than I felt when I was 35 and on a low-fat diet and juicing all the time and making my own, homemade whole wheat bread. So I'm going to stick with carnivore for now, and let me know again in the comments how you guys are feeling. Share this video if you have, friends or family who are concerned about the same issues that we're talking about today. And just let me know what you guys think. Okay, don't forget to like this video. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. That really helps the algorithm. And I'll see you next time.